Hey, what's up, guys? John here. So I've talked a lot about this. I've talked about what's happening in the state of California. I've been talking about this for the last 18 months, laying out the entire framework of what they want to do. And what they want to do is they want to turn the state of California, at least what it seems like they want to do, into more of a welfare state, a welfare society. And they're building out plans and infrastructure around how that state's going to be run to ensure that it happens. Look at SB 1079. I talked a lot about this. Essentially what it is it allows the state of California first right of refusal to buy single family homes and real estate all throughout the state from distressed property owners. It gives them the first right of refusal. And if you as an investor want to go out there and buy a property, you have to disclose the price in which you paid and allow the state of California, nonprofits, and tenants the first right of refusal to buy the property from out from underneath of you. So if you're a real estate investor, you're sending out postcards, you're hustling, trying to get a good deal, maybe find a $500,000 property for $300,000, really excited about it. Well, you got to tell everybody about it. You have to say, hey, who wants to take over this property at $301,000? And people that do, they'll have the option. They'll run out there, they'll buy the property from you, and then you work for free. So take a look at what Gavin Newsom just said. It's pretty unbelievable to me because it's exactly what I called.
We put $6 billion, $5.8 billion for Homekey. Some of you may know a little bit about Homekey. We started buying hotels and motels last year. Seemed an opportunistic time to do it amidst the pandemic. A lot were vacant. A lot of people were desperate. A lot of small business owners were very happy that someone was going to come in and purchase those assets. We were able to purchase 6,000 units in 5.5 months.
Look at that. Look at this smile on his face when he says that they're able to. Look at that. You think that's a look of a sympathetic governor that really cares about the mom and pop property owners? I'm talking about the landscapers. I'm talking about the automotive shop owners that have maybe a house or a duplex. They work their entire life. And this guy here.
We were able to purchase 6,000 units in 5.5 months.
6,000 units in 5.5 months. You know, when I lived in LA before I left, it's incredible. The lady to the right of me, she came in from Mexico, and she worked with special needs kids. She didn't know a lick of English. She learned English. She worked hard. She bought a multi-unit property. She fixed up that property. She kept the rents relatively low, and she was happy. You know, she was living off that property, but she worked 20, 30 years to have what she has. The lady to the left of me, same story. She's from Mexico, worked her tail off to have it. But, you know, the lady to the left of me had a pretty large debt load on that property. And what happens? You work your whole life, and then the state of California builds out policies to ensure that you don't thrive, that your children don't thrive. Instead, they depend on the state to write checks and to assist. But now I see some really big problems coming that a lot of people, I think, don't see just yet. So what they're talking about doing in California, it's going to be happening in New York. It's going to be happening in many, many, many other states, probably all of the states. Even in Texas, unfortunately, it looks like Governor Abbott has some new competition, which has radical views that are away from, you know, the policies and really the lifestyle of most Texans, what they expect when they move to Texas. It's going to be a big change, potentially, in the event that Abbott loses. So I think that over the next 6 months or 12 months, we could see more and more policy changes that could impact the way that people invest in real estate, where they want to invest, the fears that they have surrounding, you know, their investments. A lot of things very likely to change. But one thing that is coming across that I think is going to allow California, the real estate values, to collapse even further. It's going to be a couple things. So the first is this here, is what they're planning on doing. If you haven't heard about this, they are planning on let's see here. They are planning on this right here. So if this ends up happening, and California is a state primarily based on, people want to go to California. You look at tourist revenue, Venice Beach, SoCal, even going as far as, San Francisco and above. People go to California, it's a travel destination. Well, this could all change very, very soon. And when this does change, we have to ask ourselves, how will this impact everyday property owners? Think hotels, restaurant chains, think laundromats, travel agents, everyone that cooperates in tourism. You're going to have less capital coming in. And what we're likely going to have is a situation that is now happening all over the place. Even right now, they're talking a lot about doing this, which all of these new changes, which are going to be coming in, and they're saying that this is very likely to come over to America. So the questions I ask myself are, if we start to see some big changes coming in terms of, mobility, traveling, there's an affordability crisis, and then states like California and states like New York have traps set up to ensure that if people do fail, that those states are going to be there to pick them up, so to speak, or really just pick up their properties. And it's just quite incredible to see how fast this property takeover is happening. Newsom, when I look at this video here, it really highlights where they're trying to go with this. So listen to that. In case you're just joining, listen to this.
We put $6 billion, $5.8 billion for Homekey. Some of you may know a little bit about Homekey. We started buying hotels and motels last year. Seemed an opportunistic time to do it amidst the pandemic. A lot were vacant. A lot of people were desperate. A lot of small business owners were very happy that someone was going to come in and purchase those assets.
Now, you got to ask yourself, why are these business owners and small investors happy someone's buying their assets? You got to ask yourself. Probably because the restrictions coming across that state make it impossible for people. When you have tenants that don't have to pay their bills, and they don't have to pay rent, and they know that they don't have to pay rent, and then small businesses are impacted by this whole new, phone system that they need to go in and out of restaurants and stores, what's going to happen? Property owners are going to bleed out. There's no way. And unless, of course, they have an online business and they do well online. That's not most people. Most people in California, when you're thinking of the traditional person in California, you're not thinking of the person living in the Hollywood Hills on Blue Jay Way, soaking in a $50 million view. No, you're thinking of, someone that came in from Mexico, or someone that came in from, South America, and they worked for 30 years or 40 years. They raised a family there. They have a traditional business, and they're scraping by. This is a traditional person that lives in LA. It's not the elite businessman that most people think live in LA. Now, when Newsom's bleeding them out and taking over their properties, you got to ask yourself, how low could prices go, right? How low can they go? Newsom's there right now, and he has a position where they have almost unlimited capital just sitting on the sidelines, because the rumor was that roughly between 2 and 3% of all of the rent relief capital went out, 2 to 3% of all of that money. So they're sitting on all the rest of it. What are they going to do with it? They're going to use it. They're going to use it to buy properties. They're going to use it to buy assets. And then those assets are going to be taken over, and then they're probably going to turn into an affordable housing type of situation. And then, I'm sure there's going to be some strings attached to that housing, but there's going to be some real big problems. But look at this closely. Look at this very, very closely, because this is likely going to come to a state near you.
We put $6 billion, $5.8 billion for Homekey. Some of you may know a little bit about Homekey. We started buying hotels and motels last year. Seemed an opportunistic time to do it in the midst of the pandemic. A lot were vacant. A lot of people were desperate. A lot of small business owners that were very happy that someone was going to come in and purchase those assets. We were able to purchase 6,000 units in 5.5 months.
5.5 months, 6,000 units. You're buying, he's buying. He's buying 1,200 units a month at this rate right now. A little more, about 1,200 units a month. Yeah. So, and then now they're pushing in. You look at West Hollywood, pay close attention to what's happening here. West Hollywood has the highest minimum wage in the country, roughly $18 an hour. They now have that new device where you need to check in and out to go into the stores, right? You have 40% of the society inside West Hollywood that is not yet, they don't have that device yet. So 40% have not yet submitted to it. And now what's going to happen is that these small businesses have higher costs on products and services, higher costs for employees. They have health requirements that they have to meet. They have to give paid sick leave. And they're going to likely lose a lot of tourism, a lot of tourist revenue. A lot of people are not going to want to go to California. That's for sure. I'm not going to go back anytime soon. So people aren't going to be traveling there. The nightlife is going to suffer. The money flowing into that state is going to get depleted as they begin rolling out all of these new, welfare type programs. What's going to happen? State of California is probably going to go out there, buy up the retail, buy up the small properties. They're going to likely increase taxes. They're going to do everything that they could possibly do, because every move that's taken against the businesses is a move. It's a checkmate for state of California. And if they do this just for a couple of years possibly and turn it around, then they have all this property. They can inflate the market. They can really manipulate the real estate market, and they can make it more demanding or less in demand. And it's just it's unbelievable to me. I moved to California in 2009, and really 2005, but I got into business in like 2008, 2009. And when I was starting out, I looked at California. I'm like, this is the land of opportunity. Amazing weather, beautiful people, great opportunities everywhere. You could make just incredible opportunity, or really incredible business partnerships with people, and get around smarter and more successful people than yourself. That was my plan anyway. And I always just worked and hustled to get around smart people, to put myself in a position to, be of value. But now in the state of California, most people of value are realizing their level of value that they contribute through tax dollars and business opportunities. And they're saying, hey, I can do the same thing in Florida. That's where I am right now. You can do the same thing in Texas. I can go to Puerto Rico and save on taxes. I can go here. I can do that. I can do this. And what's happening is that the people staying in California are either staying there because they have family and they're tied down there, or they can't afford to leave, or, they're just happy with the way that things are going. But I promise you, a lot of opportunity, a lot of money, it's all going to flow out of California. And it's just unfortunate to see someone like Gavin Newsom, who was voted in to protect and to help the people, to guide them into a place of prosperity, is now happy, smiling ear to ear that people are suffering and that he is there to take over their properties.
We put $6 billion, $5.8 billion for Homekey. Some of you may know a little bit about Homekey. We started buying hotels and motels last year. Seemed an opportunistic time to do it in the midst of the pandemic. A lot were vacant. A lot of people were desperate. A lot of small business owners that were very happy that someone was going to come in and purchase those assets. We were able to purchase 6,000 units in 5.5 months.
That's straight from him. 6,000 units in 5 months. The big question I ask myself, if we look at what's happening in Germany, Austria, Netherlands, we look at everything that's happening there, and the closures that are looking like they're going to start coming back, what will happen if we step into a period where November, December, and January, the big months for retail, small business, they depend on that revenue as float to get them through the spring, they lose that revenue due to a series of closures. If that happens, you're going to see a situation, and also coupling the fact that Biden's new big changes that, they are likely, DOJ, they are defending it. They're defending it. I personally think it's going to happen. January 4th, if this does go forward, you're going to see so much distress in that market in California, really everywhere, but especially the expensive economies. California is very expensive. You want a one bedroom in a decent area, you're talking $3,000 a month. You got to make $120,000, $130,000 a year to afford that. And with high taxes in California, most people making that kind of money are saying, hey, I could go to Florida, pay no income tax, and I could live, for less, and I could experience my life to the maximum. I can have pure freedom. And that's what people are doing. But it's unfortunate. It looks like California's at a tipping point. And it's unfortunate. I never wanted to sell my home. I never, ever wanted to leave California. But now, if you believe in capitalism, you believe in making money, and you want to do well for yourself and for your family, it's unfortunate that people like Gavin Newsom are there to ensure that it becomes much more challenging for your success and the success of your offspring. It's just quite incredible. I just can't believe how bold he is.
We put $6 billion, $5.8 billion for Homekey. Some of you may know a little bit about Homekey. We started buying hotels and motels last year. Seemed an opportunistic time to do it in the midst of the pandemic. A lot were vacant. A lot of people were desperate. A lot of small business owners that were very happy that someone was going to come in and purchase those assets. We were able to purchase 6,000 units in 5.5 months.
There you have it. 6,000 units. My prediction, because I predicted this initially, I predicted this over a year ago. I said, this is what's going to happen. Actually, someone commented, I'm going to pull this up. Here. Hold on a second. So, because someone commented and they're like, hey, you were right. Let me see here. Oh, I responded to it, so I don't know if it's going to show me. Yeah, I responded to it. So it's not going to come up in my recent. But what they essentially said was, John, you called it. You're spot on. You called it. That's what the state of California is doing. My next prediction for California is going to be that the winter is going to be very challenging for business owners. The next 6 months are going to wipe out a lot of the people that are kind of standing at the edge of the cliff that are barely hanging on. They're going to get really wiped out. And California is going to throw them a lifeline to sell the properties directly to them for a set price. And California is going to get a grip of that real estate. And people that have equity are going to start seeing the writing on the wall and saying, hey, maybe now is the time that I liquidate or pull some money off the table and I start playing defense, because I'm now forced into a corner and I have no other alternative. It's either play defense and invest wisely now to prepare for the storm, or see what Newsom does next. But you see the smile on his face. You see how happy he is taking 6,000 units from people. Think about that. That's if 3,000 people owned a duplex, he stole 3,000 duplexes. And this is it's just so crazy. We live in a whole new world. I went to an event yesterday with Mark Moss, and there was a bunch of people there, maybe 400 or 500 people or more. And it was great to be around people that also see the writing on the wall. They understand what's happening. And a lot of these people, we're having open conversations and dialogues about these big changes, and everybody, especially probably all the people here in this chat, everybody knows what's up. They know where this is going. They know what's happening. So be smart with your investing. Be smart with your strategies, because people don't have that much longer that they can hold on to what worked, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, before they are forced to pivot. So make sure you pivot well. And I'll catch you guys in the next live stream. But before that, I'm going to play this for the people that just jumped on here. so you guys can see this one more time before I check out here.
We put $6 billion, $5.8 billion for Homekey. Some of you may know a little bit about Homekey. We started buying hotels and motels last year. Seemed an opportunistic time to do it amidst the pandemic. A lot were vacant. A lot of people were desperate. A lot of small business owners were very happy that someone was going to come in and purchase those assets. We were able to purchase 6,000 units in 5.5 months.
There it is. All right, guys. Catch you on the next live stream. Subscribe here and smash that like button. And I'll keep you guys up to date. Some real big changes coming soon.